digital camcorders have that feature.
Yes? There's two ways, obviously, to do this. I mean, most of the modern cameras, you can actually do in-camera editing. But you've got to be careful. If you're dubbing sound, if you've got a single track, you'll wipe out the original sound. So if you're doing that within the camera, you've got to watch that. If you've got a stereo camera, you should have the option to keep one track and dub onto the second track, thereby bringing both sounds together. Or get together with a friend that's got another camera, and you can actually take the full sound from yours and add another soundtrack from a tape recorder to it, or a voice if you want to talk to it. There was an old technology which was called sound on sound. Have you heard of that? Sound on sound? There was a button you could play. I had a tape recorder that did the same thing, sound on sound. It had the original track. You'd press the button, sound on sound. It would retain that track. Whatever you put into the machine through the connections, voice, music or whatever, would then go on with it. Now it's old school technology, it's very simple, difficult to balance, you'd need to experiment. Once you establish what balance you're putting into it, you could balance the two sounds, but you had very little control over it. That was called sound on sound.
Copying it from one source to another, to another.
No, digitally you shouldn't lose it. It's minute. In today's digital technology, transferring one to the other is minute. What's going to go wrong, I explained to this gentleman here, the same thing, the cables. If you go from one good machine to another good machine and a dodgy cable, it'll deteriorate. But if you go from a good machine through a good cable to another good machine, you won't be able to tell the difference. Today's digital technology has arrived. You can do that. Old school, I would agree with you, it deteriorates. VHS, if you tried to copy a VHS, if you got to the second copy, it was only almost acceptable. A third copy to me wasn't acceptable because it deteriorated every time you did it. It was going on to tape. And like you were talking about deterioration, yes, that deteriorated. Digital technology doesn't deteriorate like that. Okay? Anybody else? Are we done? Thank you very much.
No, I have no question. Can't wait for the bio.